once again, and welcome to the Talking Shit Podcast. Sounds like Warner Brothers wants to remake The Matrix, and of course they want the Wachowskis' blessing on it, but you know what? I can understand them doing a TV show, I can understand them doing an extension of the original films, like a Next Generation a la Star Wars, something like that, where you have the original characters setting up a new set of characters, Neo taking over Morpheus's character spot, or something to that effect. But that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about rebooting the whole thing, okay? Now, you could even call this updated Matrix rebooted thing. You could do it with both. I don't understand why you want to remake something that's not even 20 years old. It doesn't make any fucking sense. The original film is still relevant. Sure, the second and third film were not as well received, but what the fuck, guys? Come on. Are you that desperate for IPs that you're already hearkening back to films that have sequels that aren't even 15 years old barely, let alone the original film not even being 20 years old yet? Speaking of remakes, they're talking of another Fly remake, and of course, it already was a remake to begin with. The Fly is a perfect example of one of those films that cries out for a remake because the original was so dated, even in the 80s, that the 80s version was so different and fresh and only carried a few elements from the original film and did something completely new and original and totally used the special effects of the time. Another good example of one of these type of remakes is Scarface, which is another one that's being remade. Now, here's my problem with these remakes that we're getting now are going to be remakes of the remakes. They're not going to go back to the original story. They're not going to try something different and new. They're just going to remake what we know of the original movies because that's how they want to sell these. Hollywood. There's a video down below that really digs into a lot of this remake bullshit that's going on and the culture in Hollywood of how if it's not something that everybody already recognizes, they're not going to take a chance on it. So we're getting a bevy of new remake announcements as usual. It's like Hollywood's not learning. They're not trying anything different. Speaking of not trying anything different, Sony just announced out of nowhere that they set a release date for a standalone Venom film of October 5th, 2018. Now, that does not give this movie a very big window to get done in. They announced a writer who I hope's been working on it for a while, because if they're not starting pre-production soon, this movie is going to be a bitch to get done by the October 5th date, and I don't see that happening. Because even though you got maybe one or two major characters with special effects involved, you still got some major special effects involved with a character like Venom, no matter how you utilize him. There's got to be some type of special effects in there that is going to take a while. And it takes at least a month or two to film one of these type of movies, especially all the green screen work and everything else that goes into it after the initial rolling goes down. And then you got all the special effects work, as I said, and it just, the year compounds itself to where usually it takes 2 to 3 years to make one of these types of films. For example, look back at Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel. Both got pushed back for various reasons because they just weren't ready to be, they weren't going to be ready by their release date. I understand Sony wants this and they might be picking up back from where they had left off prior to where they were starting a Venom movie years back, so a lot of this might be just stuff that's being carried over and pushed forward, and they're just getting it out there because they know it's known. But it does not sound like this Venom story is going to have anything to do with Spider-Man or the Marvel Universe. It's supposed to be its own standalone thing, so when we learn more about that, we'll get into it. There's another rumor going around, and possible spoilers here, so if you guys are really interested in the movie Life, you already kind of probably get what I'm going to say, because you've either heard it or you're putting 2 and 2 together already. Point is there's some people out there who have a theory that this new film Life that's coming out is supposed to be a prequel to Venom, and the thing that they find in space is the symbiote. Anyway, all that aside, I don't see this happening by October 5th unless they're a lot farther along in the process than we know, because it does not compute time-wise. You need the time for post-production and pre-production that just doesn't seem to be there unless they're already quite a ways through pre-production, which could be very possible. They've kept it under wraps all this time kind of poorly because we did know about it. We just didn't take it seriously before because we knew all this shit that was going down between Sony and Disney and Marvel, I should say, as far as they're sharing Spider-Man. But I'm going to put on my conspiracy cap like I always do, and I got a little bit of a conspiracy theory here. Now, you guys remember probably like a couple months back here, maybe not even that long ago, when there was talks of a Carnage movie too. All of a sudden, you've got Deadpool and Logan within the matter of a year are R-rated comic book films that do very well, not just financially but critically. I get where Sony's coming from probably here, and what they're probably doing is they're probably making a Venom Carnage movie, and it's going to be R-rated, guys. This is just my theory. Don't take this as any kind of factual anything. I have a feeling that though this might be Sony going, okay, we've got these other characters here, they're dark, they don't really fit in with the Spider-Man universe universe that Disney's got going on with Marvel now, but we've got them. We can do something with them. R-rated comic book movies are hot. What can we do? Maybe they threw $50 million at this thing. They got a guy working on it right now. Who knows? It might be an R-rated Venom, Carnage, or just Venom movie as far as that goes. We could finally see something like that. And letting that roll around in your head a little bit, it does make sense, at least to me. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Keep talking shit.